What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you for March 16th, 2019, St. Patty's Day weekend. Um, got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. The main subject of this video is going to be the Errol Spence Jr. and Mikey Garcia fight tonight. But I'm also going to be giving a recap of the Tevin Jono Carroll fight from last night. So let me get a couple more people into this live session before I really go in depth on these fights. Let's see. Last night I was live streaming the fight. Did have to take it down, excuse me, because of copyright reasons. But I will be giving a recap, and I want to thank everybody that tuned in regardless, because yeah, it was a really good fight, really good card, and I really want to talk about the co-main event as well, because it was very interesting, and I got a chance to see a fighter that I really didn't hear about before, so I want to talk about that as well. Let's see, get a couple more people. I know exactly need to get Manny in here, because I already know Manny, he getting ready for the fight tonight. Definitely gotta get you in here. Who else? What's going on, Jules? What's good with you, man? Did you see the you have the zone? Did you hear about the Tevin Farmer fight last night? Hometown kid, Philadelphia. And you coming out to the fight tonight to watch the Spence fight over his A's? Get a couple more people in here, bro. Alright, I think this is good for now. Could rock out. Yeah. So last night, there was a big fight with Tevin Farmer versus Jono Carroll. Carroll being an Irishman. Came in. I didn't really know much about him, but the whole card was lit. So the first fight I wanted to talk about from last night on the undercard, and this is a boxer I didn't know about. Katie Taylor. She's really good, man. Co-main event, Katie Taylor versus Rose Vellante. And she was defending her, what did she have? She had the WBC and I believe the IBF belt. And she was going for Vellante's WBO lightweight championship. So now she has 3 of the straps. And man, some of the people on a live stream last night, if you didn't hear, I had to take it down because of copyright reasons. But a lot of the people in the chat on the live stream were telling me that Katie Taylor is the real deal. And I've heard of Clarissa Shields. That's the main female fighter that I know right now that's really been making noise. But I did not know about this girl, Katie Taylor, before. And man, they were telling me she was sharp, and she is sharp as hell, man. She would light Clarissa Shields up. And she came out and in this fight last night, and she was sharp from the get-go. Established the jab, throwing punches in bunches, sharp, crisp combinations. And this other girl, like she had heart, but she didn't have a shot in hell to beat Katie last night. And Katie Taylor stopped her 9th round TKO. The referee stopped the fight. And actually, the fight before this, surprised I didn't remember to mention this, Gabe Rosado fought in the fight before this. Let me see who he actually fought. Selecki. I can't pronounce his first name, but Gabe Rosado fought Selecki for the vacant WBO International Middleweight title. And he was getting beat from pillar to post for the first 8 out of 10 rounds. Got knocked down twice. He got knocked out in the first round and the 8th round. I mean, by the 6th round, it looked like, he didn't have much left. He was breathing with his mouth open. And it just looked like he was overmatched from an overall standpoint. But, true to form, the commentators were saying, like, this might be it. He's gassed. Selecki looks fresh. He's about to put him away. And the 9th round came around. He came back from a knockdown in the 8th round and turned it around and stunned Zelecki towards the end of the 9th round. Knocked him down and then knocked him down once more. And, I mean, if he had more time in that round, who knows if he could have stopped Zelecki. Really showed me a lot in that fight. I was highly impressed with Gabe. And then the 10th round came out and had another pretty good round. He clearly lost the fight, but the fact that he was almost able to turn it around in what I would call like a Rocky moment, you know, where he didn't beat Creed, but he definitely shook Creed up a little bit towards the end of the fight. That's what happened with Gabe versus Zelecki. So that was a really good fight. Go check the replay if you can. And then back to the other fight after that. Rose Vellante really reminded me a lot of Gabe Rosado, minus being able to knock down Katie Taylor. She was not going to quit. She was going to go out on her shield, and she needed either her corner or the referee, who ultimately ended up stopping the fight, to be able to actually stop the fight, because she wasn't going to give up. And at a certain point, you have to protect your fighter. When there's nothing to be gained by allowing the fighter to finish out the fight, you really have to look out for the fighter's best interest. And I wasn't sure if the fighter's corner was going to do that. And I was actually glad the ref did it. There was an incidental clash of heads. So Katie Taylor, they clashed heads, and Katie Taylor clashed her forehead on the bridge of Rose's nose. And it looked like maybe possibly her nose could have been partially broken from that impact. And, you know, it started leaking a little bit and had a nasty little cut there. And fortunately, maybe that was a blessing in disguise, and that caused the referee to stop the fight. Maybe had that cut not have happened, or that clash of heads not have happened, fight might have went the full 10 rounds. I believe it was a 10-round fight. Might have went the full 10 rounds, and maybe she could have gotten seriously hurt or sustained damage that she had no business taking. So, you know, that was a great fight, and Katie Taylor is on my radar now. She is really good. I mean, and I know a lot of people to say this, like, she's not good for a woman. She's just sharp, period. She is a sharp fighter. Don't forget that. Make sure you check her out. She's really good. I was highly impressed. Now on to the main event. Tevin Farmer versus Jono Carroll. Now, Katie Taylor, she was Irish as well. So this is a night of the Irish. And then on the flip side, a night of Philly fighters with Gabe Rosado and Tevin Farmer. And then night of the Irish with Katie Taylor and then Jono Carroll, who was in the main event versus Tevin Farmer. So Ireland versus Philadelphia. And I never heard of this guy, Jono Carroll, before. Never heard of him. You know, and he was fighting. This is a title defense for Tevin Farmer's IBF Junior Lightweight title. I believe Junior Lightweight is 135, so Junior Lightweight has to be 130. So 130 pounds. He was defending the IBF 135-pound title, and he was favored pretty heavily coming into this fight as well. And people in the comments were telling me that Carroll, like, he's okay, but he's a straightforward, up and down, no lateral movement type of fighter, and he was tailor-made for Tevin Farmer. So I was pretty much like, okay, I've never seen him before, but we'll see. But from what you guys are telling me, doesn't look like he matches up very well against Tevin Farmer. Boy, were we wrong. I mean, more so some of the people in the comments, because I didn't know jack squat about him, but man, he really came out, and he immediately came out, put pressure on Tevin Farmer, and went to the body. He went to the body. He wasn't landing all of his shots, but he was still throwing them. He was staying active, and he was throwing punishing shots, even the ones that were blocked. He was still making contact and dictating the pace of the fight. Most importantly, that's what he was doing. He was the ring general, and he was dictating the pace of the fight, making Tevin Farmer fight his fight. even though I thought Tevin Farmer probably had more skill overall, I thought that Jono Carroll's ring IQ and the pressure he put on Tevin Farmer, thought it was highly effective. Man, early on in the fight, I would say the first 5 to 6 rounds, Carroll was really controlling the fight, and then he started to gas a little bit in round 5, 6-ish, and Tevin Farmer came on a little bit. He started landing the more crisp, cleaner, effective shots, and I think it was round 9. Might have been round 9. Oh, was it round 9 or 10? Okay, no, it was actually round 11. He rocked Jono with an uppercut. I remember that uppercut. Rocked him real bad with a mean uppercut, and he had him on the run, and he was quite possibly on his way to putting him away, because he had a good, I think, 45 seconds left in that round after he rocked him, and he had him on his heels. At that point, in the 10th round, I had it tied up 5-5. I really liked the body work that Carroll was doing throughout the fight, and I thought that he was winning a lot of rounds, as well as the commentators. They thought the same thing. Round 11, I had it easily for Tevin Farmer because he rocked Carroll, and I could have possibly have seen it being a 10-8 round. That's debatable because he really hurt him in that round. It was probably the most dominant round for either fighter in the fight. And then round 12, I thought that Jono came back pretty well, and I thought that he was able to take that round. That's just my opinion. I personally had it 6-6. I had it a draw. I could have seen it 7-5 for either guy. I would probably lean more towards Jono if I went 7-5, but I think I might have to score the fight a draw. He gave him a lot more than he bargained for. There was a lot of trash talking leading up to the fight. They talked a lot of smack, and emotions were running high. And I think that Tevin Farmer fought him flat-footed because he was trying to see what it was hitting for. Like he said in the post-fight conference, he wanted to see what it was hitting for, what he was bringing. And I think he got into his emotions a little too much instead of fighting smart and boxing him like he did later on in the fight. Which is why I think that it was a draw. So, I mean, that's what I thought about the fight. It was a very good fight, and the next fight that everybody kind of wants to see, not kind of, but really wants to see, is at 130 between Gervonta Tank Davis and Tevin Farmer. They have a history of bad blood, and they're the next obvious in line to go against each other at 130 with the belts. So that's the next fight that needs to be made there. I mean, bar none. Let's stop with the pussyfooting and get these two guys in the ring so they can settle this dispute once and for all. So that's my thoughts on that fight. So on to the meat and the potatoes of this video, which is the Errol Spence Jr. Mikey Garcia matchup tonight live at Jerry World. Freaking Cowboys. And it's going to be a banger. But I have some interesting thoughts on it. So live tonight on pay-per-view, Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia. Errol Spence is heavily favored, -400 by Vegas. Mikey Garcia is plus 300 as the underdog. So Errol Spence is pretty clearly favored in this fight by Vegas. We have David Benavidez, 165-pound fight in the undercard versus Jalen Love. Benavidez, he's favored as the favorite, minus 1,250. It's a heavy favorite. So this would seem to be like a tune-up fight for him. I don't know Let's see if this is a title defense. I don't know if it is or not. Let's check. I know he's 20-0, 17 knockouts. Because I know he has the WBC super middleweight title. I don't know if he's defending it, though. Either way, this seems like a touch-up fight. So, I'll be interested to see what he does in this. I haven't seen much of him, so I want to check him out. And then the main event, Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia. Now, I have a lot of different thoughts and opinions on this. So, let's start off with first things first. Mikey is coming up from 135. Yeah, 135. Skipping past 140, right to 147 to face Errol Spence Jr. That's a big jump. He's not taking any tune-up fights in the interim. He's not fighting any cans, as we like to call them. He's going straight for the quote-unquote boogeyman at 147. There's a lot of people that have been avoiding Errol Spence, i.e. Keith Thurman, fight that just happened last weekend, Sean Porter. He's been kind of tentative as to whether he wants to face Spence. So, there's been a lot of people that have been avoiding him, but I still don't know how I feel about Errol Spence taking this fight. I mean, why not go after Danny Garcia or somebody of that caliber at 147? Why take the Mikey Garcia fight with a guy that's moving up 2 weight divisions as opposed to a fight with a Mikey Garcia? Or trying to really put the pressure on Keith Thurman or Sean Porter now that he's finished his last fight? I don't know the answer to that. I would be putting the pressure on some of these other guys or going after Danny Garcia or Algeria or somebody who's going to give you a more competitive fight at 147. But that's neither here nor there. That's just how I feel about it. But we're here now, right? That being said, I really want to break down this fight, see the strengths and the weaknesses of each fighter, look at the tail of the tape, and then tell you who I think is going to win and why. So at first glance, you look at Errol Spence and Mikey. Errol Spence, let's see. Let's look at Errol. I just want to kind of look at the age and things of that nature and compare. So Errol's 29, Mikey is 31. Errol is 5'9.5", Mikey is 5'6". Errol has a 72-inch reach. Mikey has a 68-inch reach. Errol typically comes in at anywhere between $157 to probably $162 on fight night, whereas Mikey has never been higher than, I would have to guess, $145 or $147 in his career in a fight. So, man, those are significant details. They're really significant details. Mikey said during the weigh-in and the press conference that he was most likely going to come in at 150. 152 probably tops, but probably 150. Errol said he'd probably coming in around 160, but I'm going to guess he might even be coming in at maybe anywhere between 160 and 165. So he could have anywhere from a 10 to 15 pound weight advantage on Mikey Garcia, and that's you can't sweep that under the rug. That's a big effing deal, man. Now they had to weigh in at 147 to make weight. And they couldn't rehydrate more than 10 pounds this morning during the second day weigh-in for the IBF belt. So they couldn't be any more than 157 pounds this morning. But Mikey is not going to be more than 150, 152. So that don't matter. But for Spence, he might weigh 157 this morning, but he might rehydrate another 5-8 pounds by fight time, which is probably going to be around 11 o'clock tonight, Eastern time. So you're going to have a guy that may have 10, maybe 15 pounds on the dude that's coming up in weight. My name's Stan. I go by Jen. This is my sports corner, Jen Sports Corner. I don't know if you were on the live stream yesterday, but I had to take it down because of copyright reasons. But I'm from Jersey, bro. Thanks for tuning in. I had a live stream of the Tevin Farmer Jono Carroll fight last night. I had to take it down, but I was talking about it earlier in this video, so make sure you kind of rewind back and look at my notes on that and check out the replay because it was a really good fight. As was Katie Taylor before that. She was really good. A lot of people in the comments last night on the live stream were telling me she was sharp, and they weren't lying. She's one of the sharpest, not just female fighters, just fighters period that I've seen. She was highly impressive. And then the Gabe Rosado fight before that versus Zalecki, he really showed a lot of heart, and you need to see that replay. But yeah, that's a big deal. Going back to Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. Oh man, if he has possibly a 15-pound weight advantage against a guy that's already coming up 2 weight classes, that's not used to taking punches from a guy that big, that's a huge deal. I mean, Errol Spence, he's 24-0, 21 KOs, excuse me. And a lot of those KOs come from body work. He puts in that work to the body. We saw it with Kell Brook. Kell Brook is a big welterweight. Could damn near probably should be fighting at 154. And he put that body work on Brook. And I think that was the reason that Brook started to wear down in the second half of their fight. And it contributed to him getting stopped, you know, along with the broken eye socket. But I really think that Errol Spence was starting to wear him down and slow him down by putting that body work, putting that in the bank in the earlier rounds. So if he's able to do that against heavier guys, what do you think that Errol Spence coming in at 160 is going to be able to do against a smaller guy, Mikey Garcia, who he has the reach on, who he probably has the power on, who he also has height on? That's a big deal. It's a big deal. So that's one of the big things that I wanted to talk about here. And I think that's one of the reasons that Mikey's brother, Robert Garcia, who was an excellent fighter in his own right, and his father were really warning him about taking this fight, as opposed to just, you know, taking another fight at 135 or moving up to 140 and working his way through the division there. Now, this is a very dangerous fight for Mikey. That being said, let's kind of look at all the attributes side by side for each fighter and see who's better at each. So first things first, let's look at speed. So speed-wise, I think that Mikey has a slight advantage, but even though Spence is the bigger guy, it's not slow. It's not slow at all. I remember looking at his last fight versus, not Ocampo, but Kell Brook and Lamont Peterson. Kell Brook he got quick hands. And Spence was able to slowly time him and walk him down. Same with Lamont. Lamont Peterson is not slow, but he was able to get that time in and start working the body and really breaking him down. Made him quit in the corner. His corner stopped the fight. So in terms of speed, I give the advantage to Mikey, but it's not like he's going to be running circles around Errol or going to have a super duper speed advantage on Errol. But he does have an advantage. Next, power. This clearly goes to Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence is one of the hardest hitting fighters at 147. And that's mainly how he wins his fights. Now he has I think it's 88%, 21 divided by 24. I think it's around 87 or 88%. He's knocking people out, but he's doing a lot of damage with the body work. And then, from time to time, knocking people out up top. But he can stop your ass. So power, even though Mikey has it at 135, even if he brings up some power to 147, he's not going to have the power that Errol Spence has. So that goes to Errol. Chin. Errol Spence, I would give chin to Errol Spence right now. Just for the mere fact that, not that I'm not saying that Mikey doesn't have a good chin, which I think he does, but at this weight class, I don't know the answer to that yet. He may or may not have a good chin at 147. We don't know the answer to that, but we know for sure that Errol Spence can walk through shots to deliver punishment to you. That's what he does. It's what he lives for. That's his MO. So I have to give chin to Errol Spence. Boxing ability and ring IQ. Errol Spence is a smart fighter, but I have to give that to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is the all-around better boxer and better technician. And that's one of the main reasons why he took this fight and came up in weight and took this risk. Because he feels as though, even though he's given up the advantage in weight and height and reach, he has the boxing ability and the boxing IQ to beat Errol Spence. And I think that's why he's taking this challenge. So, not to say that Errol Spence doesn't have good ring IQ, because Errol Spence is a former Olympian. He's seen different styles. What's up, Manny? I'm talking about the Errol Spence Garcia matchup. I talked about the Tevin Farmer fight last night a little earlier on. But right now I'm to the point where I'm talking about ring IQ. I gave speed to Mikey slightly. He's obviously going to be faster, but not by miles and leaps and bounds. Gave power, obviously, to Errol Spence. Errol Spence, his MO, his meal ticket is just breaking people down. And he's one of the hardest punchers at 147. It probably could be a heavy hitter at 154. I gave chin to Errol Spence because we don't know what Mikey's chin is going to be like at 147. We know what it's like at 135, 147. We don't know. But we for damn sure know Errol Spence can, he'll take a shot or two, walk right through that shit to try to punish you. That's what he does. And now I'm to ring IQ and boxing ability. And I give that to Mikey. Like I said, Errol Spence, he has the Olympic pedigree. He has experience with different styles. He's had some success at the professional ranks. He had a really good matchup against Lamont Peterson. That was a really good fight to kind of test his ability. And he did well as against Kell Brooks. Kell Brooks outboxed him for 6 rounds. And then the body work that Errol put on him early in those 6 rounds, even though he was losing from a boxing standpoint, they caught up to Carroll later in the fight, and he wore him down. So even though he does have good IQ, but Mikey is clearly the better technician. He's clearly the better boxer. And like I said, that's why he took this fight. Welcome to the podcast. We're talking about boxing IQ. That's why he took the fight. He's the better technician. Is that going to be enough, though? That's the question. And I'll give you my answer to that once I go through like 2 or 3 more attributes. Next is defense, which clearly goes to Mikey. Errol Spence doesn't have horrible defense, but doesn't have great defense either. He takes way more punches than I would say is to my liking, even though he's able to get away with it because he has so much power coming back at you. Mikey clearly has the better defense. And he's the better technician. He has the better defense. But is that going to be enough? We'll see. But defense goes to Mikey. That's a fair point. We're going to have to see how naturally Mikey was able to put on this weight. Because I think that Mikey walks around probably at 147. So I don't think it's necessarily very unnatural for him to have to walk around at this weight. Because, he fights at 135, but he might be like, I don't know, 142, 144 on fight night for some of those fights. So another 5 pounds, I don't know if that's necessarily going to make a difference for his speed, but I don't know if he'll be able to bring up the power. I think that's more so my question. But that's a fair question and a fair point. I've definitely thought about that. That's why I said that even though I think he might have the speed advantage on Spence, I don't think it'll be by much. I don't know if it'll necessarily be noticeable. Might have a slight speed advantage, but it's not going to be like Manny Pacquiao versus Margarito. It's two different scenarios with the smaller guy coming up to fight the bigger guy. Spence ain't Margarito. He ain't slow. And Mikey ain't Pacquiao. And he doesn't necessarily have the offensive, firepower at this weight per se. So, like I said, I'm gonna let you know my opinion on the fight after this last attribute, which is X Factor. Who is able to control the pace of the fight and break the other guy's will? Those are some of the things that play into the X Factor for me, including ring generalship. And I think I'm going to have to give this to Errol Spence. Just for the simple fact that he's comfortable at this weight, and this is what he does. He imposes his will on you to see if you're able to push back. And for most of his fights, the answer has been no. I mean, especially in the Lamont Peterson fight. Lamont Peterson, that dude is a warrior with a capital W. And he systematically broke him down over the course of, I believe, 8 rounds. Same thing with Kell Brook. Kell Brook fought Triple G, so he knows what it's like to fight a big puncher. I mean, Triple G, man, he'll land shots with the fucking best of them. And for him to come in and be able to wilt against the power of Errol Spence, it's just a testament to how tough he is and how hard he hits. I think that Mikey, he's going to have some issues with that. So overall, I think that Mikey will have some success early on because I think he's going to be able to outbox him. And I think that it's going to take a couple rounds for Errol to get his timing down. But once he gets that timing down, I think that you'll start to see the tide slowly shift. And this could turn into a very dangerous fight for Mikey very quickly. My prediction, I have Errol winning. I think it's going to be a good fight, but I think that Errol might stop him by TKO sometime in the 7th or 8th round. That's what I honestly see. I would lean more towards the 8th round, but I see Errol stopping him. Not necessarily dominate him the whole fight. I think that Mikey will have his spots. He'll win some rounds, but I think that Errol is going to break him down. Errol, let me get that right. Let me pronounce his name correctly. Errol is going to eventually break him down. And I think that Robert is going to really have to be mindful in his corner if it gets to that point. Because Mikey, he's a great fighter. And if he's able to go 12 rounds and make it a competitive fight, great for him. But if it gets to a point where it's getting dangerous, he as a brother is going to have to know when he needs to step in and stop the fight. Because even though this could be a great experience for him, he still has a lot to offer at 135 and possibly 140. You don't need to have a career redefining fight like Kell Brook did against Triple G. Broken eye socket, and that has cascaded into a reoccurring problem for him. We saw in the Errol Spence fight, broke the other eye socket, and it's been a perpetual issue for him from this point forward. I don't want to see that from Mikey Garcia. So that's my thoughts. I think that it'll be a very good fight, entertaining fight, but I have Errol by stoppage. I'm going to go with stoppage by 8th round. That's what I'm going to go with. What you think, Manny? And anybody else that sees this video, leave it in the comments. What's your predictions for the fight? How do you see it playing out? And who do you see winning and how? Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Go back early in my video. I was talking about the Tevin Farmer fight. And if you haven't, man, check out Katie Taylor. She's an absolute monster. I'm going to be on the lookout for her. And I eventually want to see her fight Clarissa Shields. Exactly. I eventually want to see her fight Clarissa Shields. Clarissa's good, but I don't think she fucking with Katie. But that's a fight I would want to see her, just strive for greatness. So that's all I got for now, people. If there's things that you want to see me talk about in my next video, let me know. Next time I'll be talking more Philly sports, talking Eagles free agency as well as Raiders. And the Sixers as well. And the Phillies, they're coming up with an opening day is coming up soon, man. Bryce Harper, that's who we're all waiting to see, along with the other additions that they had. News and notes, last things last. What's going on, Sterling? last things last, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Gen Music, GEN Music 856. I left it in the description. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, like the video, which I will be posting up. Make sure you click the notification bell, so every time I drop new content, you'll be the first to know about it, and you can hear what new stuff I got to say to you guys. Last but not least, what up, man? Last but not least, music-wise, got a lot of new music I'm working on. Me and Stevie Franks are shooting the second day shoot for Tiger's Eye off of his recent project, The Bigger Picture. The song was a banger. We're finishing up filming for that tomorrow evening. Going to be over in Philly, so it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be a great video. So we got that coming for you guys real soon. I got my project Dark Side of the Sun, as well as new music coming up as well. So make sure, like I said, go to my website and my YouTube channel. They're both in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because you'll get the updates for my music and my sports channel as well. So I'm putting up a lot of content for you guys, man. Really trying to get this movement going and turn this snowball into an avalanche. I will talk about Wilder and AJ soon. I was talking about it on the live stream last night. I had to take it down. Actually, it got taken down due to copyright reasons. But I'll make another video probably sometime this week coming up, talking about AJ and Wilder. And then also Canelo Jacobs, and then Triple G getting signed to the Zone as well. All of those things I'm going to talk about in my next video coming up. So I want to talk about the Triple G 6-fight deal. I want to talk about Jacobs and Canelo. They've been going on a press tour recently, and that's going to be a really, really good and tough fight for both guys. And then I'll talk about the whole Wilder situation with, you know, him turning down the deal from the Zone, and what's next for him. And what's next for AJ, because I really like Wilder, but, you know, he really needs to figure out what the hell he wants to do. You know, if you're not going to make the rematch with Fury happen, then make the fight with AJ happen. If you're not going to go to the Zone, then what are you really doing, man? Like, don't lose your pen at these critical moments where you could be making the biggest fight in boxing happen. So I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And I'm going to keep this brief, because I want to make an actual video for you and others specifically talking about that and what I think about Deontay Wilder and the business moves he's making right now. Yeah, Spence 9-10 round stoppage. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I have 8, but I could see 9 through 10. He'll have his moments, but I think that's the way I see it playing out as well. Yo, Sterling, let me know what you think about in the comments. How you think this fight's going to play out between Mikey and Errol Spence Jr. So, yeah, that's all I have for now. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and be on the lookout for the next video and the next updates and music that I have coming. Oh, also, subscribe. No, not subscribe. Download the Playmakers Radio app. I'm on there every Tuesday night, talking sports and the newest and latest in sports entertainment. So, I'm moving, man. I'm grinding. That's it for now. Till next time, people. Peace.